On April 26, 1986, an uncontrolled power surge at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in northern Ukraine released massive amounts of radiation across the surrounding areas of Ukraine and Belarus and beyond. Within days, most humans were evacuated from the area around the plant, creating what is now known as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. This vast region has remained largely empty of people ever since. But something incredible has happened there. While the ground beneath their feet and the plants they eat and the water they drink may still be radioactive, wildlife has returned to the area and thrived. And nowhere is this more evident than among the wild boar. In the years following the disaster, scientists predicted that radiation would prevent any large animals from living in the area. But wild boar not only returned to the exclusion zone, they actually thrived there. Their population grew exponentially, and scientists were left scratching their heads wondering why. As it turns out, the wild boar are surviving long-term exposure to radiation thanks to some unknown adaptation that we're only just discovering. Hi, I'm here to tell you all about it. When the Chernobyl power plant had its meltdown, thousands of people had to be evacuated from their homes immediately, and those who stayed behind suffered high rates of radiation poisoning. Animals also suffered, but different species in different ways. In the immediate aftermath, many animals died, but some survived. And as the years passed and the humans moved away, more and more animals returned to the area. Since then, the exclusion zone has become a refuge for wildlife. It's home to hundreds of species of birds and mammals, including wolves, deer, and foxes. But no species has returned in greater numbers than the wild boar. In fact, scientists estimate that there are now more wild boar in the exclusion zone than before the disaster. That's a pretty incredible statistic considering that radiation is still present in the soil, plants, and water of the area. After the disaster, scientists were baffled by the boar's resilience. They knew that the animals were being exposed to radiation, but they couldn't explain why they weren't getting sick or dying. Well, a new study says that after more than 3 decades of eating irradiated food, drinking irradiated water, and wallowing in irradiated mud, the boar have essentially adapted to their surroundings. They've developed a resistance to radiation that allows them to live long, healthy lives. Researchers analyzed tissue samples taken from boars shot by hunters in the exclusion zone and compared them to similar samples taken from boars living in areas unaffected by radiation. What they found was that, while some organs showed signs of radioactive contamination, others showed none at all. The scientists believe that the boar's bodies have developed some kind of DNA repair mechanism that allows them to fix the damage caused by radiation, which could explain why they seem to be thriving. But more research is needed to confirm this. Regardless of how they've managed to adapt, the wild boar's survival is nothing short of incredible, and their story raises more questions than just how can this be. It also makes us wonder why. Why did the boar return to the exclusion zone in the first place? Well, when humans abandon a space, nature always seems to find a way to reclaim it. And that's exactly what happened here. As the exclusion zone was largely uninhabited, there was less human-caused disturbance in the area. This allowed ecosystems to recover that might otherwise have collapsed without human management. For example, forests grew back and provided ample food and shelter for animals like wild boar. There was also an abundance of food and little to no predators. This led to the population boom we see today. But while the wild boar of Chernobyl are thriving, some individuals still show radioactive contamination in their meat. This makes them unsafe for human consumption. So hunting is still prohibited in the area. Perhaps someday this will change. But for now, the boar are safe and free to roam the forests of the exclusion zone. An area that was once home to thousands of people. The Chernobyl disaster was one of the worst nuclear accidents in history. While it will likely have lasting consequences for the area, it's clear that life has a remarkable ability to not only endure, but also thrive even in the most challenging of circumstances. The wild boar of Chernobyl are a testament to the power of nature and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can still bloom.